I wanted people who say that they're quite familiar with this process to actually sit and think and find out a little bit about themselves and actually how familiar they really were with it. So it was a bit of kind of a self-awareness, a bit of a chance for them to actually think, actually, do I know anything about this at all? And they could only find that out for themselves if they were doing it honestly. I gave it to different sorts of groups, really. Initially with the governors and trustees at the Pennine College and the senior managers. And that, I think, was a bit of a shock for them to realise that they were scoring so poorly on the scale at the end, because if they scored well, the score was you know so much about it, you could do self-employed consultancy straight away. But if they scored at the bottom, it was like, forget what you're doing, you know, give up sort of thing, your provision should be withdrawn. So it was a bit of a shock if they scored nearer the bottom. So it worked quite well with senior managers and trustees who I say probably thought they knew more about it than they did. But I used it with other groups like our tutors. And I've kept it as a Word document, so it's really easily amended. Like I used it with our support staff, and some of the more strategic questions were replaced with actually how are you over supporting students, things like that. So a wide variety, but I tended to use it in groups, senior managers, tutors or support staff. People actually sit down, assess themselves in a fun way and actually think, hang on, I don't really know enough about this and I better find out a bit more. That's when I've been doing it in separate groups. But when I've mixed the groups, the managers, the tutors and the support staff, it's taken a lot longer than the 15 minutes because people stop and discuss. Because it might be that a senior member of staff think there's a lot more going on with initial assessment than a support member of staff is. Or one group of students, one group of staff know much more than others and should have shared the information. So it creates a lot of interesting discussion when you break it up and mix the groups. My main advice would be just to get hold of it and use it. It only takes 15 minutes. So much of what we design as managers can be overcomplicated and too formal. But this is actually a learning experience, a self-awareness tool, and it's a bit of fun as well.